Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something pretty interesting, a set of sources talking about the Decalogue of Mature Habits. Basically, it's this list of 10 habits, and the sources say these are the things that quietly show who you are, character-wise, not about your age, not your job title, none of that. So our mission, really, is to unpack these 10 things. Why these specific habits? Why are they supposed to be the real signs of maturity? It's kind of like a shortcut to understanding character, both in yourself and, the people around you.
Yeah, and I think we need to start by maybe shifting how we think about maturity itself. We often link it to like big milestones, right? Getting that promotion, buying a house. But this list suggests maturity is actually more about the small stuff, the consistent, almost administrative actions we take day to day. We'll explore how it moves from just being polite to something deeper, like relational integrity.
Okay, let's dive into that first theme then, what the sources call the immediate social contract. These are the habits that show up right away in everyday chats and interactions. And the very first one seems almost too basic, saying thank you often. I mean, isn't that just good manners? Why does it count as maturity?
Well, because it says a lot about your underlying mindset. Immaturity often comes from a place of feeling entitled, like you're just owed service or help. So when you consistently say thank you and mean it, it signals that you're not coming from that place. You actually recognize that effort, even for routine things. The person making your coffee, a colleague sending a file, that effort has value. It's about the lack of entitlement, which is a big piece of being mature.
Oh, okay, that clicks. It's the internal recognition. Right, next up, something that causes a lot of friction, being on time. We all know being late is annoying, but explain why punctuality is framed as relational maturity.
It's essentially time empathy. Being late isn't just like disorganized. You're actively using up someone else's time, which they can't get back, often because you didn't plan well enough. A mature person gets that. They understand the other person's time is just as valuable as theirs. Showing up on time is sort of a silent agreement. I respect you. I respect our arrangement.
It's respect in action, basically. Okay, let's shift to communication that needs more conscious effort, thinking before speaking, and listening with patience. These sound straightforward, but people mess them up constantly.
They really do. And they both require hitting the pause button on that instant reaction. Thinking before speaking means quickly weighing, okay, what's the impact here? What's my actual motivation? Is this comment actually helpful or kind or even necessary? A mature person kind of delays that immediate urge to speak, especially if it's just a clever jab, in favor of like clarity and keeping the relationship healthy long term.
And listening with patience, that feels like it's getting rarer. Everything pushes us to interrupt or multitask. Where's the maturity angle there?
Patience in listening is, well, it's a huge sign of respect. It means you're not just sitting there planning your comeback while they're talking. You're actually trying to understand their point. Immature listening is just waiting for your turn. Mature listening is about receiving. It shows you have the self-control to quiet your own thoughts and really focus on the other person.
So, looking at this first group, the thank you, being on time, thinking, listening, it really seems to boil down to self-awareness, pausing that impulse.
Exactly that. It's the pause. Maturity isn't just the polite action itself. It's the consistent choice to interrupt your immediate reaction and replace it with something considered and respectful.
Okay, let's move into the second area, the inner battle. This is about inner strength, maybe ego, prioritizing truth. And the first one here is often seen as the hardest. Admitting when wrong. Especially today, admitting you messed up can feel like weakness, right? Like you're giving someone an advantage. Why is this vulnerability supposedly key to profound maturity?
Because it means you've managed to conquer a core fear of the ego. The fear that being wrong somehow makes you worthless. An immature perspective often ties self-worth directly to performance. So making a mistake feels like being a failure. But a mature mind can separate those. It sees mistakes more like data, opportunities to learn. The courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being willing to face temporary discomfort for the sake of accuracy and growth down the line. And this ties directly into the next habit, being humble, which, by the way, isn't about putting yourself down. Mature humility is more about having an accurate picture of yourself.
That's a really important distinction. So if humility is accurate self-assessment, how does that make it easier to admit you're wrong?
Well, if you're genuinely humble, you already accept you have limits. You know you're not perfect. You understand statistically you're going to be wrong sometimes. So admitting it isn't such a huge threat. If you're deeply insecure, though, admitting fault feels like you're being exposed. Humility gives you a sort of psychological buffer. It lets you say, okay, I made a mistake, without feeling like that mistake defines your entire value.
Right. Okay, switching gears slightly, but still in this inner battle space. Avoiding gossip. This one's subtle. Gossip can feel like bonding sometimes. Why is not doing it a sign of maturity?
Because gossip is, well, it's like social junk food. It gives you that quick hit of feeling included or maybe superior, but it's fundamentally corrosive to trust. A mature person understands that trust and discretion are way more valuable currencies in the long run. By avoiding gossip, you're basically signaling, I'm a safe place for information. I value stability and loyalty more than a quick, cheap thrill.
So it's not just about being nice, it's about understanding the structure of trust. If you gossip with someone,
You're proving you're willing to break trust. And yeah, the logical conclusion is, if they gossip to you, they'll gossip about you. A mature person sees that pattern and just opts out. And over time, that builds real credibility.
that leads us perfectly into the final section, reliability and sustained trust. The long game habits, starting with a big one, keeping promises.
Yeah, and we often downplay the small ones, don't we? Oh, I'll call you right back. I'll send that over tonight. But every broken promise, big or small, kind of chips away at the value of your word. Mature individuals get that integrity is like a building. If the small supports are weak, the whole thing is shaky. Keeping promises isn't just about the task itself. It's about actively protecting your reputation for being dependable.
Right, even the small stuff adds up. And the cost of not doing it can be huge. Okay, the next habit seems to pull everything together, staying consistent. How is this different from just doing the other 9 things sometimes?
Consistency is what separates an isolated act from who you actually are. An immature person might turn on the charm, be punctual when they need something, right? A mature person applies these habits reliably, day in, day out, whether they need to or not. Consistency shows it's become part of their actual character, not just a performance they put on. It's about disciplined application.
So consistency makes the habits real, not just occasional good deeds. Got it. And the last habit deals with navigating complexity, respecting differences. Especially now, it feels like any disagreement gets labeled as disrespect. How does maturity help someone handle this better?
It signals an ability to handle cognitive dissonance, holding conflicting ideas without panicking. An immature mind often feels threatened by a viewpoint that challenges its own beliefs. It feels unstable. So the reaction is to argue, dismiss, or try to convert the other person. A mature mind, though, has enough self-assurance to accept that complexity is just part of life. Respecting differences means acknowledging that someone else's experience or view can be valid to them, even if you don't agree with their conclusion. It's not a personal attack. It shows you have a more evolved view of the world. You accept that not everything has to fit neatly into your own box.
That really does feel like the integration point. Respecting differences, keeping promises, staying consistent, they all weave together. You can't really be great at one while failing badly at another, can you? The whole structure relies on each part.
Exactly. The real strength of this Decalogue is how the habits reinforce each other. Together, they paint a picture of someone who's mastered not just social skills, but that internal discipline too. They really are silent signals, much louder than any big pronouncements about yourself.
So that's the full set, from the simple thank you all the way to the discipline of consistency. And what we've really seen is that maturity isn't some plateau you reach. It's an ongoing practice, moment by moment, choosing respect over impulse.
Right, and the real takeaway for you, listening, isn't just knowing the list. It's using it like a mirror. If you notice you're consistently tripping up on one of these habits, well, that's probably your biggest opportunity for growth right there.
So we'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. If maturity is shown silently through consistency, which one of these 10 habits, if you violate it, do you think sends the loudest, most immediate signal of immaturity to others? Which failure causes the quickest breakdown of trust?